Good day for the ugly sweaters in Cleveland as we get set for the Bengals and Browns. Cleveland has lost 15 straight games going back to December of last year. It's 364 days since their last victory. We've been talking about the weather, 29 degrees, and even in the last 10 minutes, the snow has picked up. It's supposed to intensify throughout the afternoon and snow the entire game. As Steve Berline mentioned during our 12:30 hit on the NFL Today, throwing the football in the snow is not as big of a deal as the wind in the snow.
Wind and rain are a quarterback's worst nightmare when it comes to throwing the football. The snow does not affect the grip on the football. The cold temperatures do. The ball expands or it gets smaller or bigger with the cold weather. But as far as the grip on the football, snow really has no effect.
Cleveland won the toss, and they have deferred into the second half. So Cody Parkey kicks it away. It's a short kick. Bounces at the 12, picked up by Alex Erickson, and he is wrapped up at the 26-yard line. Andy Dalton has owned the Browns in his career, specifically last 3 games, 7 touchdowns through the air and no interceptions, and Dalton has thrown for at least 200 yards in all 12 games this season.
One more thing, guys, as this game gets started here on the sidelines, it snowed pretty steadily in the pregame, but now the wind has picked up. It's not snowing as hard, but the wind is blowing extremely hard right here on the surface.
Steve Tasker down on the field for us today. 1st and 10, and Cincinnati starts it on the ground with Jeremy Hill across the 30 and gang tangled at the 32-yard line. As we take a look at the starting offense for the Bengals, Eric Winston again gets his 2nd straight start at right tackle in favor of Cedric Ogbuehi. And Tyler Boyd is a guy that continues to make plays, the rookie out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd is a guy that you look at what he's done, especially in the absence of A.J. Green, been a huge addition to this offense, stepping up just as you would expect the high draft choice to do.
3rd straight game, A.J. Green is out with a hamstring injury. Although Marvin Lewis told us yesterday that A.J. had a good week of running and is closer to a return. Dalton's first pass of the day along the sideline, and incomplete, intended for Brandon LaFell. As we look at the Cleveland defense, the rookie Emmanuel Ogbah leads the team with 3 sacks on the season. And Christian Kirksey is 3rd in the NFL in tackles. He's got 111 on the season. That's a career high. And in the secondary for Cleveland, Jamar Taylor, Christmas came early for him. He signed a 3-year extension yesterday. Rex Burkhead comes into the game on 3rd down and 5 for the Bengals. Dalton throws, and it's caught for a 1st down by Tyler Boyd. He is a team-high 19 catches on 3rd down. That leads all rookies in the NFL.
Yeah, great catches. Hard to explain how difficult this catch is. In this weather, the ball coming ripped by Andy Dalton out in front of him and low. Nice job of squeezing that football with the big hands for the 1st down conversion.
Bengals were 7 of 14 on 3rd downs last week against the Eagles, and some trickery here as Boyd on the reverse has some room. Tyler Boyd down the sideline and shoved out at the 20-yard line. Green body Calhoun finally caught up with him, but it's a gain of 39.
They had the Cleveland defense completely outflanked on that. They got a big misdirection. It was a very late handoff on the reverse, and the Bengals got all the way out in front of Boyd. He ran right down, fell out of bounds right in front of me. That was perfectly timed for the Bengals to pull off right in the beginning after that 1st down get.
Just his 2nd carry of the season. Jeremy Hill trying the right side and pushes his way to the 15-yard line.
And I'll tell you why that run, I believe, was so successful. When you look at what Jeremy Hill did to this Cleveland Browns defense the last time they played, 9 rushes, 168 yards. You know darn well that Hugh Jackson and this defense led by Ray Horton, the defensive coordinator, they're focused on Jeremy Hill. What did the Bengals do? They give it to Jeremy Hill. The Browns over pursue, and Boyd comes back on the reverse for the big play.
Tyler Eifert in motion on 2nd and 4. Play action. Dalton, plenty of time. Fires end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Eifert. His 4th touchdown of the season, and the Bengals jump out on top.
This is just what the Cincinnati Bengals wanted to do. Come down and take control of this game early. Made it look way, way too easy. Right here, a great route by Tyler Eifert. You saw the peek inside and the ball on time. Clean pocket for Andy Dalton. Easy throw for the touchdown. Too easy if you're the Cleveland Browns.
That play action really froze the defense, no pun intended. They all rushed to the line of scrimmage. Eifert with the little move got wide open very quickly for that touchdown.
Mike Nugent has been far from automatic on extra points. He's missed 5 this season, but this one right down the middle. An impressive opening drive for Andy Dalton and the Bengals. Tyler Eifert gives Cincinnati a 7-0 lead. Tyler Eifert has 4 catches in the red zone this season. All 4 have gone for touchdowns. And now 17 receiving touchdowns since the start of last year. That's the most of any NFL tight end. Remember last week the Bengals scored on their first 6 possessions against the Eagles. First time they had done that since 2009. Nugent kicks it away. And on the return, it's Ricardo Lewis. Lewis to the 15, and doesn't get any further than that. A penalty flag comes in. Today's referee is Gene Steratore.
Illegal block in the back, return team. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down, Cleveland. The number on the illegal block was 53.
And that's the rookie Joe Schobert. So that will back up Robert Griffin III and the Browns to start their opening drive. RG3 with his first start since week 1 against the Eagles. He injured his left shoulder. 20 passing touchdowns in 2012 and 20 since then.
And you don't want to have your first drive backed up in your own end zone to start the game with these conditions especially.
Isaiah Crowell next to Griffin, who's in the shotgun. And on first down, RG3 wants to run, and he is taken down at the 13-yard line. Look at the starting offense for the Browns. Jonathan Cooper gets the start at right guard, just his 12th NFL start, and Terrell Pryor, we expect him to be in a good matchup with Adam Jones today. Pryor and Jones exchanged words throughout the week.
Yeah, and they weren't words of affection or terms of endearment.
No holiday greetings.
No.
We'll get into that. 2nd and 4, Griffin picked up 6 on first down. Now looking to throw. Rolling right, chased out, and we'll just throw this one away. Good pressure coming from Geno Atkins. The Bengals defense led by Carlos Dunlap. He has a team-high 7 sacks on the season. And Carlos Dansby played the last 2 seasons for the Browns. Said he was pumped to be back at the dog pound now as a member of the Bengals. And in the secondary, Adam Jones in his 10th year out of West Virginia.
Yeah, 1 interception and 1 forced fumble for Adam Jones as we see Terrell
False
Pryor.
start. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Saw Terrell Pryor jump off sides or move too soon. This is not, 3rd and 4 is a much different scenario than 3rd and 9. Terrell Pryor, he knows he cost his team right there. Every yard counts, especially when you're backed up at your own end of the field. Puts his team in a much more difficult situation.
Cleveland, the 3rd worst team in the NFL on 3rd downs this year. They convert at just a 34% clip. 3rd down and 9 following the penalty. Griffin fires too high and incomplete. That was nearly intercepted. That throw sailed on Griffin, and here comes the Cleveland punt team.
Yeah, that was Michael Johnson that almost intercepted that pass. They came with pressure off of Robert Griffin's left side, and that allowed Michael Johnson to drop back into zone coverage. A big defensive end, not used to dropping into pass coverage. He'd like to have another shot at that ball, I guarantee you.
Britton Colquitt to punt it away for the Browns. Erickson back deep. Short kick. Erickson from his own 45. And tripped up. Nice tackle there by Buddy Calhoun on special teams, but good field position for the Bengals when we come back. First quarter, and the Bengals lead the Browns 7-0. Andy Dalton told us last night that he has never played a game in the snow before, and he's never worn a glove on his throwing hand, but you can see that Andy Dalton is going with a glove today on his throwing hand. As they start this drive on the ground, he told us that earlier this season during walkthrough practices, he started experimenting with the glove because he thought, hey, maybe this is going to be a year where I'll have some snow. He said he practiced with it this week after he saw the forecast for Cleveland today and told us he would make a decision in warm-ups whether or not to use the glove, and obviously the decision has been made to wear it.
Yeah, and it's something I cannot relate to because back in the ancient times when I played, they didn't have gloves for quarterbacks, so I don't know the difference, but Andy Dalton obviously feels comfortable with it.
Did they have helmets back then? Completes this pass to Eifert at the 31-yard line. That's good for a Cincinnati first down.
Yeah, one of the things about that, it's not so much for the warmth, although that does help. It's more for the grip. Dalton told us your hands get so dry in the freezing cold that the ball doesn't feel the same. But the glove, at least it's a consistent grip. And you see there, no problem getting it to Eifert for the first down. But I agree. I think the glove gives you a more consistent grip. I know I was around when the glove started to be a thing for receivers. It just gives you the chance to attack the ball when it's coming in. And I think for a quarterback, consistency with the grip is the reason you can use it on a day like today.
Cool. Dalton has started 3 out of 4 for 32 yards and a touchdown. First and 10 from the 31. Looking to throw again. Pressure coming. Dalton is hit, and the ball comes out. And Eric Winston falls on it for the Bengals, but nearly a turnover by Dalton.
Yeah, this was just complete speed around the right side there. You see Winston just chasing Dunlap coming off the edge.
That was Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson
coming off the edge.
Coming off the edge. That was just speed right by Winston, who really did a poor job of taking his set the way he should as the right tackle. Andy Dalton really had no idea that pressure was coming.
Third sack this season for Cam Johnson, a loss of 9 on the play. Second and 19. Dalton fires to Boyd, and Boyd to the 30-yard line, brings up third and manageable after the 9-yard sack. Christian Kirksey on the tackle.
Yeah, you talk about the protection of Andy Dalton. The right tackle position for the Bengals has been a little bit of a revolving door. Winston got the start today, but it's been a rotation package, and if they can't get that buttoned up, Dalton's going to have to release the ball quicker, and this Browns team is going to load up.
Third down and 9. Dalton to the sideline, and it's caught for a first down. Tyler Boyd again. His third catch of the day, and he also has the 39-yard run.
Well, protection has been an issue for the Cincinnati Bengals. Andy Dalton sacked 32 times on the year coming into this game. The most he'd ever been sacked on a season was 29 times coming into this year. Obviously, when he's got the protection that he needs, the receivers are getting open, giving him a place to throw the football.
And Dalton was not sacked last week for the first time this season. The offensive line did a good job against the Eagles. First and 10, Rex Burkhead on the carry. He has taken the spot of Gio Bernard, who tore his ACL and is out for the year.
It's interesting about this game. A lot of people talked about with RG3 taking over at quarterback, it would be a different Cleveland Browns team, but you think about this Bengals team and look at the way they played last week. It's a much different team this time around than it was the first time as well. In the last 2 weeks, last week against Philadelphia, and certainly in the early going here, the Bengals look like a much different football team than the 4-7-1 team that their record states.
7.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Jeremy Hill on the carry, has some room. Hill with the 10, and Hill knocked out by Tramon Williams at the 5-yard line. An 11-yard run, first and goal for Cincinnati.
Well, great call, great execution. Look at the right guard, Zietler, and you look at the right tackle, Eric Winston, pulling around the left side and leading up into that hole for Jeremy Hill. Very well executed play. You see right in front of you. I mean, it's almost unfair. You got a 320-pound lineman taking on a 230-pound linebacker in that hole. squared up.
Jeremy Hill again, and he lunges to the 1. Jeremy Hill, coming into the game, had 39 carries without a run longer than 7 yards. But on that play to set up 1st and goal, he went for 11.
We talked a little bit about the Browns going tempo. This is right now the Cincinnati Bengals have really got an upbeat tempo. They're going up, quick snap count, and Andy Dalton is just getting him in and out of the huddle really fast, and the Browns defense is on its heels.
2nd down and goal. Hill up the middle, spins, and he is in for the touchdown. 8th rushing touchdown this season for Jeremy Hill. And that is his 28th rushing touchdown since the start of 2014, the most of anyone in the NFL. He came into the day tied with DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, this guy knows how to get the ball in the end zone. A true power running back who does have the speed to run away from you in the open field, but his bread and butter is between the tackles. He loves stuffing it up in there and smelling that end zone.
Here's Nugent for the extra point. High snap, and that one goes nowhere. Scooped up by the Browns. That's a live ball. They lateral it, and this is Demario Davis on the return. Davis pitches it back to Joe Hayden, trying to reverse field. This is like Cal Stanford for 2 points, though. Hayden still going to midfield, pitches it back, and finally the fun ends at midfield.
Well, let's hope that isn't the highlight of the day for the Cleveland Browns.
6:27 to go in the 1st quarter. And Mike Nugent with now his 6th missed extra point of the year. Tuesday, the Browns' Sean Coleman and Randall Telfer visited a nearby children's hospital to deliver gifts for the holiday season. Coleman was diagnosed with leukemia in 2010 and cleared to play football again in the spring of 2012. The players were also joined by local members of the U.S. Marine Corps. 6:27 to go 1st quarter. Bengals lead the Browns 13-0. Last week, Cincinnati had 80 yards rushing the entire game. Already in the 1st quarter today, they have 74 yards rushing.
Well, remember, the first meeting between these two teams in Week 7, Cincinnati ran for 271 yards against the Browns. So until Cleveland shows that they can stand up and stop the run, Cincinnati will keep pounding Jeremy Hill and company up in there.
Last week, Hill had 23 carries for 33 yards. Today, he has 6 carries for 33 yards. Ricardo Lewis on the return from his own 4-yard line. Lewis is taken down by Fedulum. And again, poor field position for the Browns. Well, it's another missed extra point for Nugent, although this is not all on him, Steve Tasker.
Well, watch as Huber gets the punt down. It rolls out of his hand and is laying almost flat on the ground when Nugent comes through. You know, every time, Nugent has a rough season, no question, but for every time you miss a kick, there's a story behind it. The problem is nobody wants to hear it. And Huber, the holder, who's the punter as well, that ball was laying flat on the ground when Nugent kicked it. That's why the play went awry for the Bengals.
You can't take any ball handling for granted on a day like today.
Red ID!
2nd drive for the Browns. And a play action. Griffin chased out of the pocket, angling toward the sideline and out of bounds at the 19-yard line.
Well, this is a drive the Cleveland Browns really need to stand up and get something out of. I'm not talking about a few first downs. I'm talking about a touchdown, field goal at a minimum, just to keep this crowd and to keep their own team into the ball game. RG3 right there did a good job not liking what he saw up the field. Take what you can get. 2nd and 3 is a very, very good situation for an offense.
2nd down and 3. And here's Duke Johnson. And Johnson is spun down. Our first update today, let's go back to New York, JP and Coach Cowher.
Arizona answers back.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill threw a touchdown pass, but then Arizona came back. J.J. Nelson, 56 yards on the reverse, and surprise, surprise, missed extra point. Miami leads 7-6.
Back to Andrew.
Guys, thank you very much. Arizona needs to win out and get some help in the NFC. 3rd down and 1 for the Browns. Johnson up the middle, and he is right at the change. He got smacked by Vontaze Burfict.
I got to tell you, I'm standing here on the down marker, and you know, we've watched and we've heard a lot about Vontaze Burfict and how well he's been playing in the last month. You have no idea the kind of play this guy's been putting together. Vontaze Burfict is a monster. Nobody is playing inside linebacker in the NFL as well as he is. And right there is another example of it.
Look at this. Hugh Jackson told us he may be a little more aggressive as the Browns look for their first win. Going for it on 4th and 1 from his own 20, and RG3 falls forward. This will depend on the spot.
It looks like they're going to give him the spot on the near side. We'll see what happens. As you can tell, Vontaze Burfict and the defense want no part of that spot.
What do you think of this decision? First quarter on your own 20-yard line.
We brought it up to Hugh Jackson yesterday. He said, yeah, maybe, but he didn't act like it was going to be an enormous thing. But hey, they're down 2 touchdowns in an 0-12 season. Well, I'm kind of for it. I get it.
I love it because you're down 14-0. All right, you're already in a hole, and this crowd is already having bad vibes right now. You go for it right now. I think you got to roll the dice in this situation.
I agree, and they got it. They got it. Wow.
By a snowflake.
You got to have, I'm telling you, no matter what, 0-12 or not, in a hole or not, you got to have a big brassy set of courage to make a call like that going for it, 4th and 1 in your own end. That is courageous, even though everything is getting thrown to the wind here. Man, oh man.
First down and 10. That's Pryor in motion for the Browns. They hand it off to Duke Johnson, trying to get to the outside. Chased by Maualuga, and Johnson across the 30. A nice run by Duke Johnson on first down. NFL on CBS is now on CBS All Access. Stream your local games live. Go to cbs.com/NFL Now to try it free.
10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
And that run is coming back because of a holding call on the first-year tight end, Randall Telfer.
Wow, just when you get a little momentum, you get the nice spot in the first down, and a good run by Duke Johnson right there to come out on first down, and all of a sudden back to reality. A negative play, holding, 10-yard penalty. Back in the hole now, the Cleveland Browns.
First down and 19 following the penalty. Griffin loads of time, loads up deep down the field, one-on-one, and it is incomplete. He was trying to connect with Corey Coleman. Those two hooked up for a 58-yard gain back in week 1.
Just a little bit late from Robert Griffin III on this throw. He showed his arm off right there, though. Hugh Jackson told us there's no question this guy has the arm to play in the elements of the AFC North. He lets that ball go a long, long ways, but you saw him take 2 hitches on that. If you're going to throw a post route off the play action, you got to come out of that fake 1 hitch and get that ball up. You want to have a chance to complete it.
The safety, Sean Williams, on the coverage. Second down and 19. High snap. Isaiah Crowell's first carry today to the 16. It will be 3rd down and long for the Browns. And this season, Cleveland averages 3rd and 8, which is the worst in the NFL.
It was interesting coming into this game with RG3 at quarterback, how much they were going to let him run the football. We've seen him keep it a couple of times. But let's face it, they want to evaluate how good he's going to be for them the rest of the way and into the future. Put him at risk at that. I think they're showing a lot of faith in a guy who hasn't played football in 3 months.
Well, they got no choice, Steve. I believe you. I mean, you're down 14-0. You got to make a play here.
Griffin sideline to Telfer, just his second catch of the season, and he's well short of a first down. Drake Kirkpatrick on the tackle, and out comes the punt team for Cleveland.
Well, the 4th and 1 ended up getting them just another chance to punt the football away on a 4th and 8. So, but I do think it sent a message. Getting the 4th and 1, giving themselves a first down even though they couldn't make anything out of it. I think Hugh Jackson did send a message not only to his own team, but also to the Bengals. You got to think about what they're thinking now when they get into a 4th and short.
That was the first completion for RG3 today. He's 1 for 4 for 7 yards. Side ball kick. Out of bounds inside the 25-yard line with 2:13 to go in the first quarter. 13-0 Bengals. There was a moment of silence before today's game for John Glenn, the first man to orbit the earth, served 4 terms as U.S. Senator from Ohio. He died Thursday at the age of 95. At flags at half-staff here at First Energy Stadium, late first quarter. And the Bengals have a 13-0 lead on the Browns. First and 10, Jeremy Hill runs into his own man, bounces it outside and tripped up from behind. Jeremy Hill nearly broke that one, but Demario Davis was able to trip him up.
Well, about now is when this Cleveland defense needs to step up and make a stand. They provided very little resistance on the first 2 drives of this game, which is why it's on the verge of being a blowout already. They need to step up and get the ball back for their offense in decent field position.
Problem with Cleveland this year is pressure. They only have 17 sacks. That's the fewest amount in the NFL. Second down and 8. Hill. He's hit hard at the 25-yard line. Demario Davis again coming up to make the tackle, and it's 3rd down. Take a look at the sack differential this year for the Browns. As I've just mentioned, they've only had 17 on defense, which is the fewest in the NFL, and they've allowed 45, which is the most in the NFL. And the Bengals also on this list, which is a bit of a surprise considering their defense with a lack of sacks this season. 3rd down and 5 for Cincinnati. Browns bringing the pressure. Dalton incomplete, and a flag is down back at the 21-yard line. And this appears to be going against the Bengals.
Illegal formation offense. Number 74 was not on the line of scrimmage. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Jake Fisher called for the penalty, so Kevin Huber, the punter, will come out for the first time today.
That was a well-timed blitz by the Cleveland defense. Ed Reynolds, the safety, came right up the gut in Andy Dalton's face. Good time and a good execution for the Browns.
Just 2 punt returns this season for Joe Hayden, but he's back there and calls for a fair catch at his own 30-yard line with 48 seconds to go in the first quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Final 48 seconds of the first quarter in Cleveland. The Browns trail 13-0, 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Griffin under center, Crowell at running back. Play action. Griffin, good protection. Now lets it go down the sideline, and it's incomplete. Intended for Corey Coleman again. And the Browns fans looking for a flag. Coverage by Adam Jones. Looks like the snow is starting to pick up down there, Steve Tasker.
Yeah, the wind is picking up and the snow's continuing to fall. You can see it on the edge of the plays, and the defensive backs and the wide receivers, guys on the outside, are struggling with their footing. They can't come back to the football on deep throws like the one you just saw, and they're having trouble coming in and out of their breaks on the offensive side. But that is going to be a factor, because even though the quarterbacks and the offensive linemen have got pretty good footing, the guys who plant hard at the edges of the play are struggling with their footing. So it's going to affect the throwing game.
They reverse it here, and it's Coleman trying to get away from Petco. He does, but not much doing on that play. All week, the Bengals talked about how dangerous Hugh Jackson would be coming off a bye, being creative with different formations and play calls, and that was another one there by Hugh, but not much doing.
Well, those kind of play calls usually only work when you're in a desirable offensive situation. A 3rd or 2nd and 9, right there, a fake play action fake and then a reverse the defense is not going to be as susceptible to a big play in that type of a situation. They're not going to be playing as aggressively to the run.
This is the end of the first
The
quarter.
Browns will have a third down when we come back. It's the end of the first quarter with Cincinnati leading 13-0. Start of the second quarter in snowy Cleveland. The Browns 0-12, looking for their first win in a year, trailing the Bengals 13-0 with Steve Berline in the booth, Steve Tasker on the field. I'm Andrew Catalon, our entire NFL on CBS crew, and the Browns start the quarter with third down and 9. They're 0 for 3 on third down so far today.
They got to make a play here. Robert Griffin III has got to step up and make a play to keep this football for his offense.
Three on the play clock. Griffin takes the snap. Griffin flushed out, gets away from Johnson. Now RG3 going the other way. Throws on the run, it's caught for a first down. Gary Barnidge, the tight end, picks up 12 on 3rd and 9.
That's what we're talking about right there. Buying some time in the pocket, extending the play. I thought he had a couple of opportunities to get rid of this ball before he finally did to Barnidge, but you got to tip your hat. He's an incredibly talented athlete, makes a nice throw right here, and Barnidge does the rest.
Just his 5th catch in the last 4 games for Gary Barnidge. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Two on the play clock. Griffin with a flag down, throws, and it's dropped by Rashard Higgins.
Yeah, that's a play where that ball came out of his hand and then started tumbling about halfway there. It started to wobble and took a nosedive. It got affected a little bit by the wind. Even a throw like that, this is going to be an illegal procedure call against the Browns. But I think that last play with RG3 moving outside the pocket, that's going to be their offense. They're going to need about a handful of plays like that to get back in this game.
Formation offense. Number 2 receiver, the slot receiver, was covering the tight end. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Hey, Steve Tasker, see if you can get a look down there at those footballs. I think this is a wetter kind of a snow, I believe, the way it's coming down. Does it feel wet to you? Because the balls look like they are being affected by the weather conditions.
Yeah, well, the field isn't frozen, so whenever they set the ball on the ground to snap it, they're rolling it around in the wet snow. So they may hand it in there dry, but it gets wet pretty quick.
Griffin fires incomplete, was looking for Barnidge again.
That's Vontaze Burfict. I mean, that guy is everywhere.
But
it's a phenomenal play by him.
You're right, Steve, but I think it was also miscommunication by Gary Barnidge and Robert Griffin. Barnidge did not look like he was even ready for that football.
Barnidge was ready for the hit from Burfict. He was looking right at him. That ball hit him in the side.
Yeah, that's also maybe a little rust on the part of a quarterback who hasn't played in 13 weeks.
Which Hugh Jackson said he expected today from Griffin. He said he was not expecting him to play a perfect game. Crowell picks up a couple. Third down and long coming up for Cleveland. Michael Johnson on the tackle.
This is the kind of inconsistent play that the Browns have put out there. They get themselves into a position, even with pretty good field position, and they end up in 3rd and 12. They just can't get a break on 1st and 2nd down. They can't get themselves in a position to stay on the field offensively.
3rd down and 13. Griffin steps up, throws incomplete. He was feeling the heat, had to get rid of it. And it's 4th down and long. And now there's an injured Bengal down on the field. It's Carlos Dunlap, who leads the team with 7 sacks on the season.
I think Dunlap got caught by RG3's heel, got hit in his solar plexus, not the wind knocked out of him on the tackle.
Timeout on the field. Carlos Dunlap was able to walk off under his own power. Now the Bengals training staff attending to his neck on the sideline. 4th down and 13 for the Browns. Colquitt to punt it away for the 3rd time, and it's Erickson back deep for the Bengals. Erickson comes up to the 21-yard line. And Erickson is brought down at the 35. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, recognizes NFL players who have made a significant impact on both the game and in their communities. Each NFL team nominates one player for the award, with the winner being announced at the NFL Honors Award Show on February 4th. This year's nominee for the Bengals is Andy Dalton, and for the Browns, it's Joe Thomas. To learn about all of this year's nominees, visit NFL.com/Man of the Year. 1st and 10 for Cincinnati from the 35-yard line. And it's Boyd again. Had one carry the entire season. That's his second of the day.
Well, Cincinnati just trying to mix it up so that the Cleveland Browns can't key totally on Jeremy Hill. That was the jet sweep, trying to get to the edge, but played very well by the Cleveland defense, sideline to sideline, just stretching that play all the way to the boundary.
It's a Cincinnati offense that had a season-high 559 yards against the Browns back in Week 7. So far today in the snow, 124 yards for the Bengals, and a 13-0 lead as Burkhead has the carry across the 40. We met with Andy Dalton last night, and now that Rex Burkhead is getting a chance in place of the injured Gio Bernard, he said that Burkhead, this is Dalton now, one guy who deserved an opportunity for such a long time and never got it. And of course, Dalton doesn't want Gio Bernard to be hurt, but I think everyone on the team is happy to see Rex Burkhead finally getting an opportunity to carry the football.
Yeah, he said of all the guys on the team, nobody he could think of that deserves it more, and that's quite a tribute.
3rd down and 3 for the Bengals. There's a flag down as Eifert makes the catch that would move the chains if the play stands. Jamie Collins on the tackle.
Well, I think it's going to be illegal formation. Andy Dalton moved the wide receiver Tyler Boyd out, and I think he lined up on the line of scrimmage.
Offside. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. Result of the play. 1st down.
As I said, offsides on the defense.
Right. I got to tell you that it's crazy how these conditions affect me. But I was standing over here, and the Bengals All-Pro left tackle Andrew Whitworth came up and talked to me. He said, "Hey, could you tell the guys in the booth to turn the air conditioner on? It's a little bit warm out here." Keeping a guy who's in the middle of it. I can't believe how big these guys are. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling that these guys are playing this athletic game.
Play action, Dalton wanted to take a deep shot, nobody home, and now he goes down. Ogba on that sack as we go back to New York. An NFL Today update with JB and Coach Cowher.
Pittsburgh domination.
Yeah, the other snow game happening today. Le'Veon Bell taking this one over. 2nd touchdown of the day, 7 yards out there. As Pittsburgh leads and have been dominating the game 14-0 over Buffalo.
Hey, I think you guys are seeing very accurately Andrew, Steve.
Well, the good news for Steve Tasker is that he has to drive home to Buffalo today, so it looks like you're in for a snowy drive there, Mr. Tasker. 2nd and 15. Erickson across midfield, and Erickson has a Cincinnati 1st down.
Wow, that was well executed on the outside. Great throw by Dalton to get rid of it as quickly as he did, and then the interference was there, and Erickson picks his way through. Great job out front by Jake Fisher. Right at the point of attack, and they cut that 1st down. What a great play on a long 2nd down.
Just the 5th catch this season for Alex Erickson. Andy Dalton continues to spread it around without A.J. Green on the field. It's Burkhead on 1st down, and he's crunched at the line of scrimmage. Collins coming up to meet Rex Burkhead, but in meeting with Andy Dalton yesterday, he said that the amount of reps he's gotten over the last few weeks with some of the younger receivers is starting to show up. When A.J. Green went down, guys like Erickson, Cody Core weren't getting a lot of reps with Andy Dalton. Now they are in practice, and it's making a big difference.
Andy Dalton's been forced to let go of his security blanket, A.J. Green, and these young receivers have earned his confidence now, and led by Brandon LaFell, the veteran, but the other younger receivers stepping up and really showing Andy Dalton he can count on them.
7th play of the drive. Dalton throws, and it's caught again by Boyd, and he's taken down by Jamar Taylor.
That was actually a great example of what we're talking about right here. This is a hot adjustment. You saw the blitz coming off the side, and hot means that there's nobody to block that in man. And for the quarterback to have the confidence that receiver's going to see it, make the break, and react the way he's supposed to, it takes a lot of confidence. And right there, Dalton showing he's got the confidence in the rookie second-round draft choice.
He's hit on 8 of his last 10. It's 3rd down and 4. Cincinnati 3 for 4 on 3rd down so far today.
Got man coverage across the board.
Dalton in trouble, and he's sacked again. 3rd sack today by the Cleveland defense. Remember, they came in with the fewest sacks in the NFL.
Yeah, it was the man coverage that allowed them to get that pressure. They brought an extra guy, and the pocket just absolutely collapsed. And some of the problems that the Bengals have had at right tackle got them again. The speed rush off the edge, and then the interior collapses the pocket. That thing got there in a hurry. They got pressure on that pocket in a big hurry up front for the Browns.
Agba, Collins, Meter all getting back there for Cleveland.
And Andy Dalton did a good job recognizing it, got to what he thought was a good play, but they just got beat up front.
Huber trying to pin Cleveland deep, and he does just that. Downed at the 1. What a punt by Kevin Huber. The Browns will start this drive at their own 2-yard line. They trail 13-0 with 7:57 to go in the first half. Snow continues to fall here in Cleveland for the 87th Battle of Ohio. 3rd time today, the Browns are starting inside their own 15. A flea flicker from their own end zone into triple coverage, and it's intercepted by George Iloka. Has some blockers on the return. Iloka is shoved out of bounds. Curious play call there by Hugh Jackson and the Bengals, and the Browns rather, and it proves costly.
I think it's a great play call, but it's just bad execution by RG3. If Hugh Jackson's calling this play, hoping they can catch Cincinnati off guard and pop a big play. There's a good hard run fake. He actually gives the ball to the running back, and the ball's going to come tossed back to Robert Griffin III. He's got time. The receivers up the field are covered. You can see there's 3 defenders over there. A decision that I think you would question in terms of throwing the football into that kind of a crowd. RG3 should have gone to a check down or just thrown the football away. You do not want to give the ball back to your opponent on your side of the field like that.
3rd interception this season by Iloka. And now the Bengals with great field position. Dalton throwing on 1st down, completes it to Jeremy Hill. Hill with just his 18th catch of the season.
You talk about that interception, and the reason it happens, flea flickers just take so long to develop that the receiver can outrun the arm. I mean, you get a guy like Terrell Pryor, he can just go down the field further than the quarterback can throw it, and it turns into a jump ball no matter what. The key is getting rid of it as fast as you can, and RG3 takes an extra hitch, and it blows the play up.
Well, the receiver's got to buy that extra time, too. Can't be in a hurry. Terrell Pryor could have helped out a little bit.
Jeremy Hill trying to get to the outside, and Hayden is able to shove him out of bounds. Hill almost got to the edge, but good enough for a 1st down, a gain of 10.
Well, as we see the Bengals again running the football well to keep themselves in desirable situations right here. Nothing fancy, just a nice cut by Jeremy Hill, bouncing it to the outside, getting that one-on-one matchup with the corner. They'll take that every day.
How about Andy Dalton's numbers in the red zone this season? 11 of his 15 touchdown passes have come in the red zone, and he has 0 red zone interceptions. Back to the ground with Jeremy Hill, has the 10, trips over his own man, and down at 6.
Well, all of this magnified again by a guy that needs to play well today and the rest of this year for his own cause, RG3. You got to know situational football. When you're backed up in your own end zone, you cannot just carelessly throw the football up there, as Steve Tasker pointed out as well. If it's not there, you got to show your coach you know what to do with the situation. You get rid of the football out of bounds and live to see another day.
Cincinnati looking for its third red zone touchdown of the day. 2nd and goal. Eifert at the bottom of your screen. And now a timeout called for by Andy Dalton and the Bengals.
Cincinnati.
Clock is stopped with 5:53 to go in the first half. Jeremy Hill on the Bengals sideline. He appeared to be a little shaken up on his last run, so he'll watch this play on 2nd and goal for Cincinnati. Rex Burkhead joins Dalton in the backfield.
Number one threat here again in the red zone, Tyler Eifert, as good as anybody.
Dalton with time, throws, completes it at the 5 to LaFell, and he is thrown down by Jamie Collins again. Collins has done a nice job since coming over in the trade with the Patriots. Let's take another look at that run, though, by Jeremy Hill on 1st down, and watch his left shoulder at the end of this run.
Yeah, it's not that this run's important, but watch right there as his elbow locks out underneath him, and he walked off the field still on the sidelines. And he was dragging that elbow a little bit as he walked off. And you see there, arms crossed.
3rd down and goal. Cleveland's defense trying to force Cincinnati into a field goal attempt. Dalton, quick throw, caught! Touchdown! 2nd of the day for Tyler Eifert. And the snow is not slowing down the Bengals offense at all. A 19-0 lead.
Well, the last 2 weeks, this Bengals team looking more like the Bengal team we were expecting coming into this 2016 season. All 3 phases of their game clicking. Tyler Eifert and Ed Reynolds having a few words right there, but Tyler Eifert has pointed out a couple plays ago, one of the very best tight ends in the NFL in the red zone right there. Andy Dalton makes the Browns pay the price.
So here's Nugent for the extra point. Remember what happened the last time with the hold by Huber. This time it's a good snap, good hold, and the extra point is good. So the RG3 interception leads to 7 points for the Bengals. Dalton to Eifert for the 2nd time today. Back in Cleveland, Cincinnati has a 20-0 lead. Saturday, CBS Sports serves up 3 scoops of hoop. First, Memphis tangles with Oklahoma, and then it's the CBS Sports Classic from Las Vegas. Ohio State against UCLA, and Kentucky takes on North Carolina, all coming up Saturday. College hoops on CBS. Tyler Eifert now with 5 red zone catches this season and 5 red zone touchdowns this season. Cincinnati takes advantage of the Griffin interception, and they lead it 20-0. Here's Lewis on the return. Lewis out of bounds with a flag down late. Lewis ran out at the 17-yard line. Gene Steratore, also a college hoops referee.
During the return, holding, return team number 57. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Penalty number 5 against the Browns here in the first half.
Now this Browns team now has allowed 20 points today. This is the 13th game. All 13 games this season, they've given up 20 points. It's only happened 4 times in the history of the NFL that a team has given up 20 or more points in every game of the season. So not a statistic that Cleveland Browns are proud of at all.
And again, poor field position for the Browns to start this drive. Crowell finds a hole. Crowell to the 25-yard line. A little light from the Browns. A gain of 19. Iloka made the tackle.
Yeah, this one came right up the middle of the field. Right there, you see the big blocks and just weaving through the traffic. There's nowhere to run there, and Crowell finds his way through the crack in the wall of the Bengals defense. That was well run. Nice patience. Great vision by Crowell to find that little crease and get the big play.
Crowell has the longest run in the NFL this season, an 85-yard touchdown run back in week 2. Back to Crowell, spins away from Sims, but not much more after that.
But this is the only the second possession the Cleveland Browns have had the ball outside their own 15-yard line. RG3 and company here need to cash in and get something on the board.
Griffin is 2 for 9 for 20 yards with an interception. His quarterback rating is 0. Second down and 8. Griffin's pass incomplete. Threw it behind Corey Coleman.
There's a miscommunication. Robert Griffin not happy with the adjustment that Coleman made. I don't know whether he was supposed to stay on the move or not, but it just did not look like a good throw at all. You see Coleman sitting down.
Yeah, that ball just went right into the dirt.
It just dove. I think that was just a bad ball.
Coleman's been targeted 6 times today, and he has not caught any of the targets. And once again, the Browns in a 3rd and long. It's 3rd down and 8. Griffin has plenty of time. Now chased out, going to keep it himself. Off to the races, lunges ahead, and he was down, and that's going to be short of a first down.
On the field as the runner is down by contact, short of the line to gain 4th down.
I think we're going to see Hugh Jackson go for it again in this situation.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's the right move. You're down 20 points in the first half, but Hugh Jackson's sitting out. You can tell the fans what the fans think about it. It's a 4th and 1. They got one earlier in the game, and I think maybe Hugh Jackson says if we go to the well one too many times, it may be curtains for us. But I think I'm with you. I'm kind of with the fans. I think you roll the dice and go for it again.
You're down 20-0. You got 2:45 left in the first half. I think you go for it in this situation. Try and get some kind of momentum going into the half.
Instead, it's Colquitt to punt it away to Erickson. Good kick by Colquitt. Erickson back to his own 15. Erickson to the 30. And Erickson out of bounds, forced out by Dominique Alexander. 2:29 to go, and the Bengals lead 20-0. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights from the warm studio in New York. It's all coming up. And the Verizon Halftime Report. 2:29 to go. The Bengals have 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning and a 20-0 lead on the Browns as Cincinnati tries for its 12th season sweep in this long rivalry against the Browns. They'll start this drive at the 32-yard line. Jeremy Hill back in the game. That's a good sign for Cincinnati. As we showed you at the end of their last drive, he watched from the sideline after he fell on his left shoulder. And it looks like Cincinnati will just let the clock tick down to the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, you talk about the feel on this Cincinnati sideline. I mean, they feel very good about their first half, obviously. And that run play, I mean, all of a sudden it looks like both these teams are looking for halftime to get in and make some adjustments.
Steve Berline's relatives in attendance today as the Bengals lead the Browns 20-0 at the 2-minute warning. They hand it off to Rex Burkhead up the middle, and Christian Kirksey brings him down. What a half it's been in the snow for the Bengals offense.
The Bengals did something really good. Fortunately, of course, with this reverse on the first series of the game, to Tyler Boyd, they get down, get the big play, and it turns into a Tyler Eifert touchdown catch. They did a smart thing. They kept their foot on the gas in these bad conditions. They punched it in with Jeremy Hill. Tyler Eifert again. The Bengals, once they got going, they didn't let up, man. They have really kept their foot on the gas offensively, and it's paid dividends. Plus the turnovers their defense have gotten have given them a stranglehold on this game.
3 touchdowns today for the Bengals, 3 first downs so far for the Browns as Burkhead brings it into Cleveland territory.
Second
And a
short
timeout called for by Cincinnati. They have one remaining. 1:17 to go in the first half. One timeout left for Cincinnati. 1:17 to go in the first half. Dalton throws to Eifert for a first down. And Jamie Collins wrestles him down. Tyler Eifert with his 5th catch of the first half. We met with him last night. He said this is the best he's felt all season, and said he was flying around all week at practice. Of course, missed the first 6 games because of ankle and back injuries. Dalton to the sideline, caught by Boyd. Boyd is able to get a couple of extra yards, getting away from Jamar Taylor. And the clock is stopped with 46 seconds to go. Don't forget, coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Our guys back in New York will have all the scores and highlights from around the NFL, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Well, as we pointed out, Andy Dalton doing a great job now, just finding a way to get this offense operating efficiently, spreading the football around. A lot of different guys making plays today.
Dalton taking a shot to the end zone to Erickson, and he's out of bounds, incomplete. Just the 3rd incompletion this half for Andy Dalton. He's 13 out of 16.
Yeah, one of the things we just spoke about as we looked at the success that the Bengals offense has been having, and then you see Dalton here take the shot down the field. Steve Berline, you brought it up in the open. The Bengals come in here facing an 0-12 Browns team. It's easy enough to come in and take it out of gear. And you told them not to believe what they saw, and not to believe the 0-12 record, and they haven't. They have really stepped up. They know they have to win out to have any shot at the playoffs, and they're putting it on the line for Marvin Lewis.
On 3rd and 1, it's Burkhead using his blockers around the edge, and Rex Burkhead pushed out at the 16. Another Cincinnati first down, a gain of 11 for Burkhead.
Just a simple play that every offense has, but it's got to be called at the right time and the right situation. It was a crack sweep to the left side with Burkhead outside there, and it worked to precision. They got the edge, and a nice pickup again for the first down at the 16-yard line.
And you just saw Robert Griffin III on the bench. Part of the reason, or the big reason he's playing today, is to see if he can be the guy. They want to evaluate Griffin. He hasn't been on the field that much. Time of possession heavily tilted towards the Bengals, and Griffin is just 2 out of 10 passing. Dalton in trouble, and he's sacked for the 4th time today. Ogba, the rookie, flying back there. And Cleveland with 4 sacks. That's a season high for their defense.
A really nice stunt. You see Ogba looping around. Cincinnati takes their 3rd timeout, final timeout, but Ogba looping around from the left defensive end position right up the gut, and Dalton had no idea what to do when he saw that big number 9-0 right in his face. You were talking about Robert Griffin, though, and what a huge stretch of games this is, starting with today. He has not done well to this point. A lot of reasons for it, but I think one of the big factors, along with the obvious, the conditions, and against a good Cincinnati team, the field position has been very, very heavily tilted toward the Cincinnati Bengals. Hugh Jackson has not been able to get into his offense.
No timeouts remaining for the Bengals. It's 2nd down and 20. Dalton. And that pass is caught by Cody Core, and Cincinnati now has to hustle up to the line. And it's 3rd down. 3rd and 12, 10 seconds to go. Dalton pump fakes, now on the run. Dalton just throws it out of the end zone and incomplete. The clock is stopped with 4 seconds left, and out comes Mike Nugent to attempt a field goal.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see Andy Dalton do that. He breaks contain, and you almost think, well, that's going to be it for the Bengals. And on the reverse side, Robert Griffin, he breaks contain. You think, wow, they're going to make a play now. And that's one of the things. Andy Dalton is a pocket passer. He doesn't make the plays outside the pocket with his arm. He may run for a first down once in a while, but he does the right thing. He took the sack, didn't get any crazy, and he gave his team a chance to come away with 3 points by not trying for the big play and getting the turnover.
36-yard attempt for Mike Nugent. He's missed a lot right, and he misses another right. That's been the problem for Nugent on extra points, and that's his 12th missed kick of the season. A 36-yard attempt misses out to the right. We spoke with Jay Feely, our kicking expert for the NFL on CBS, and he said when you're pushing it right, you're not confident. It's not an aggressive kick. Another miss for Nugent at the half. It's Cincinnati on top 20-0. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, Crying Jordan is out. Crying Browns fan is in. The 0-12 Browns trail the Bengals 20-0 at the half. And look who bailed out on the field.
Hey,
Steve.
bailed out. I can't do any more damage down there. You know, I mean, it's all been done.
Well, before you left the field, you had a chance to chat with Marvin Lewis. What do you have to say?
Well, he said obviously he's pretty happy with the way the first half went. He knows that they need to run the football a little more efficiently. And the one thing he was concerned about coming out of halftime, as you might imagine, is the vertical passing game of the Browns. The way they're going to get back in it is to hit them for chunk plays, and they've got to keep everything in front of them, keep doing a nice job on first and second down to keep them in third and long. If they can do that, you know, they feel pretty good about the way this game's going to turn out.
The Browns did not cross midfield in the first half, and Robert Griffin's quarterback rating at the half is 0.
Yeah, not much to be excited about. Now, to his defense, he has been backed up in his own end zone almost the whole first half, only outside his own 15-yard line twice, but some of the throws have been inaccurate, the timing off, the decision to go deep out of his own end zone, which turned out to be an interception, I think was a really poor decision on his part. You know, when things aren't going well, the one thing you can't do as a quarterback in the NFL is make a bad play worse by making a bad decision, which he did there. That led to the third touchdown for the Cincinnati Bengals. The bottom line, look at those numbers, the quarterback comparison. That is not what Robert Griffin III had in mind, or Hugh Jackson. He's going to have to turn it up this second half. If anybody's going to get this offense going and get this team fired up, it's got to be Robert Griffin.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. The Browns' average starting field position in the first half was their own 11-yard line. They'll get the ball to start the second half as Hugh Jackson still in search of his first win as Cleveland head coach. Tasker, you come up to the booth and it looks like the snow is lighting up a little bit.
Yeah, it figures. That's all I can say. You know, you think about how it's gone that first half. Cincinnati ran 30 plays on Cleveland's end of the side of the 50. And, of course, as you said, Cleveland ran 0 plays on the Cincinnati end of the field. And that's, you know, you've got to change that around. And that's something that, like I said earlier, late in the first half, Steve Berline brought it up. You can say what you want. Your schedule's not going to win games for you. And the Cincinnati Bengals knew coming in at 0-12, you're still going to have to play football to beat the Browns. And boy, did they show up in a big way.
Right, and the Browns, they can now make a statement on this first drive. They've got the ball at the 25-yard line, make a few first downs, put a little pressure on the Bengals here.
On first down, Corey Coleman has his first catch of the day, and he is crushed by Sean Williams. Take a listen to this hit from the fourth-year safety out of Georgia.
Well, one of the things, Steve Tasker, you mentioned to us when you were down there on the sideline, you forgot how intense it is down, how big and fast these guys are.
I can't believe
we used to play the game, right?
I can't believe I ever played there. These guys are just so fast and so big. You can hear them screaming down there as well. They're way into it.
Crowell bumped into Griffin. Griffin gets away from his own running back and now trying to get away from the Cincinnati defense. And RG3 goes hard into his bench. It'll be third down for the Browns.
Well, this is something right here that I don't think there's any excuse for. You're going to see, this is a very basic route. Watch right here. You're going to see the tight end, Gary Varnage, just running an out route right there. There are options on the front side for Robert Griffin III to throw this football. That's a throw he should make. There's nobody in that whole area right there. He's got to start taking those easy completions, know where to go with that football.
Terrell Pryor still without a catch today. He's at the top of your screen on 3rd and 6. Matched up with Dre Kirkpatrick up top. Griffin out of the shotgun. Chased and just throws it away. The pressure was coming. Geno Atkins getting back there and putting the heat on Griffin. And very quickly, the punt team comes out for the Browns.
Yeah, there's a missed opportunity as well on Cincinnati, or by the Cleveland Browns. Griffin's just got to get rid of this. The Bengals front five jumped into the neutral zone, and the Browns didn't reach out and touch it. They could have gotten a free 5-yard penalty when 3 guys jumped over, and they all sat there and looked at him. They missed a 5-yard penalty that would have given him a 3rd and 1 instead of a 3rd and 7, and they missed that opportunity as well.
Second 3 and out today by the Browns as Erickson calls for a fair catch at his own 25-yard line. A 46-yard punt. Bengals offense coming on the field when we return. Cincinnati with a 20-0 lead. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. Andy Dalton 14 out of 18 for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jeremy Hill on 1st down. Hill to the 30. It's your last chance to vote for the 2017 Pro Bowl. Every vote counts. Voting ends this Tuesday night. Go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl vote to vote now.
Steve Berlon, how many Pro Bowls did you go to in your career? You're a 17-year vet.
Well, I'd like to say 12, but I went to 1.
Who's going to check?
I went to 5 less than you did.
6 less than you did.
Well, 6.
Tasker had 7 as Dalton's pass is incomplete.
Well, I don't count the last 1 or 2 because it was a sympathy vote to get him in there.
I did deserve to go to 3 or 4 of them. I deserve to go to maybe 3 or maybe 5 of them.
Just don't ask him what he's wearing on his finger, that's all.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about that. The Super Bowl ring he's got.
Yeah,
I'd rather have 7 Super Bowl rings.
A 1 Super Bowl ring.
Yes, I would.
3rd down and 7. Dalton taking a deep shot to LaFell. It's incomplete over the head. Joe Hayden on the coverage for the Browns, and the Cincinnati punt team comes out.
Yeah, I mean, LaFell was at the top of his route, and we spoke about it earlier. At the outside of these plays where the players run and change direction at full speed, that's when their footing really shows up, and LaFell stumbled at the top of that stem just as he was breaking to the sideline under that route, and that's what blew the play. It turned into an incompletion. He couldn't get to the ball.
Joe Hayden is back deep to return the punt from Kevin Huber. Good punt by Huber. And this one's going to be a little too good. Rolls into the end zone. A 72-yard punt for Huber. A season-long timeout on the field. 3rd straight home game for the Browns. They trail Cincinnati 20-0 with 12:51 to go in the 3rd quarter. On 1st and 10, Griffin looking to go to the air. Good protection again, has Crowell open on the other side of the field, and he drops it. There's a look at the cleats of Joe Thomas, and the Browns allowed to wear their cause for cleats because they were on a bye last week, and Thomas is supporting Team Rubicon, which is an organization founded by his former Wisconsin teammate Jake Wood. The organization uses veterans to help at disaster areas like the earthquake in Haiti. Handed off to Crowell, just dropped that last pass, doing a better job on the ground. Crowell off to the races, into Cincinnati territory. First time today. The Browns have crossed midfield, a gain of 42.
Can that be what the Browns need to get something going here? Just nothing positive offensively at all today. And Crowell right here, what a nice seam it was. Great execution, popping it to the outside and then finishing the run off.
Jonathan Cooper, the right guard who we mentioned early in the game, starting for the first time as a Brown with a good block on that play. And credit this Cleveland offensive line. They've done a pretty good job protecting Griffin. He's had a lot of time to throw the football. Keeps it himself here. Trying to get to the outside. And out of bounds at around the 35-yard line.
Well, he read Michael Johnson, and Crowell, the running back, is really happy that Robert Griffin pulled that football out of his stomach because Michael Johnson crushed him. You see there Vontaze Burfict, he thinks he got hit in the face. There's a lot going on that play. I mean, Robert Griffin running, they kept him, they bottled up pretty good, turned into a 2-yard gain. That's fine. You want to run 35 yards for a 2-yard gain, the Bengals will gladly let you do it. but they're making sure that Robert Griffin keeps the ball on quarterback option runs.
Griffin pump fakes, now throws over the middle, and that pass is caught by Barnage. And he's going to be a yard short of a first down. George Iloka on the tackle. Third down and short for Cleveland.
Well, not a pretty play, but an efficient play right there to get them into a 3rd and 1 situation. As we've been harping all day, the Browns so poor all year long on 3rd down. It's because they put themselves in those 3rd and 5, 6, 7, 8 plus situations every time.
They're 1 for 7 on 3rd downs today. Griffin rolling right, throws on the run, and it's caught by the former Bengal, Andrew Hawkins. His first catch of the day, and the Browns move the chains. Josh Shaw on the coverage for Cincinnati.
And this is a little bit about what you thought you were going to get from the Cleveland Brown offense all year with Robert Griffin at quarterback. This kind of drive here, you get a big play in the run game, and then moving the quarterback, slide in the pocket on a rollout, getting a quick release for a first down conversion on a 3rd and short. Your running game sets you up. You get a catch from Barnage over the middle. I mean, this is the kind of thing. Plus, coming in and out of the huddle, breaking the huddle with a little bit of time on the play clock. Now as they're having trouble getting a call, they're going to have to call a timeout. Just as I tell them they're getting a rhythm, they get caught not being able to get the play called.
So Cleveland forced to burn a timeout early in the 3rd quarter. Clock stopped with 10:11 to go in the 3rd. Tomorrow on CBS, deck the halls and don't miss the holiday episode of TV's #1 new comedy, Kevin Can Wait. It's all new tomorrow at 8/7 Central, only CBS. Well, Terrell Pryor only has 1 target in the game, no catches for Pryor. And earlier this week, Adam Jones said that Pryor is just a guy. He pushes off on every route, and Jones said, quote, "I don't like him." We met with Pryor on Friday at the Browns facility. He had not yet heard of those quotes, and when we told him about it, Pryor got all fired up. He said that 24 can't cover me. He's slow, and all he does is talk. He never plays me man-to-man. But those two matched up at the top of your screen. Not a lot of action for Pryor today as Crowell takes it down to the 20-yard line. But just to finish the story, Pryor said 2 weeks ago he was tangled up in a war of words with Janoris Jenkins of the Giants. He said, "I was just thinking it was kind of quiet this week. And then you guys tell me that Jones is going off. I can't wait to play him." But we haven't seen them get together today.
He has been the most targeted wide receiver for verbal assaults of any guy in the league. He led the league in verbal insults from defensive backs for the year. And here they are at the bottom of the screen, matched up.
2nd down and 5. Griffin looks the other way, completes it to Coleman, who slips a tackle and then dragged down by Carlos Dunlap. 1st and goal for the Browns, a gain of 15, and a flag just has come in.
Yeah, that was a horse collar tackle at the end by Dunlap. And it looked like the Browns guys had to remind the official it was illegal, because he really did look like he had him around the collar.
Very late flag by Gene Sterator's crew.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense, number 96, half the distance to the goal. First down.
That is the first penalty today against the Bengals. They have the fewest penalty yards in the NFL this season. Not something you would have expected per se from Cincinnati.
Is eligible.
We spoke to Carlos Dunlap yesterday, and he said, it's going to be interesting to see how this offense looks different with RG3 in there, now with Terrell Pryor coming out into his own. And they were all very worried about this offense coming off the bye week with Hugh Jackson and his offense, because they know how Hugh is. They were really worried about that factor.
1st and goal from the 3. Griffin, play action, chased out, throws, it's dropped! Danny Vitale dropped a touchdown. How does that happen?
Well, when you're the Cleveland Browns, that's how it happens, I guess. I'm sorry for my reaction. I yelled at the top of my lungs there. I don't know if I've seen one quite this easy drop.
Wow. That
flat out drop.
That right there is a microcosm of the Browns' day today.
Wow.
2nd and goal for Cleveland. The give to Crowell. And Crowell, pushing the pile forward, is marked down at the 1.
Looks like he's inside the half-yard line.
Well, this is just, guys have a knack for getting in there, finding the soft spot and getting through, and that's impossible to see. It doesn't look like he got in there.
No, he didn't get in, but it's marked inside the 1-yard line. Hugh Jackson did not want this to get to a third down call. I guarantee you, he thought he had it on
first down. Yeah.
3rd and goal. Griffin under center. Crowell, the running back. Griffin himself trying to lunge forward.
He got it.
No call yet.
Oh, it looked like he got it to me.
It is a touchdown for the Browns, and that's the first rushing touchdown for Griffin since December of 2014 when he was a member of the Redskins.
It looked like he got in, but it was a very delayed call by the officials. Griffin, just a quarterback sneak. I mean, it's just snap count helps.
A lot of orange helmets.
He hops out of there like, yeah, look. I think that's a smart move by him, too. Get up, get in the end zone, whether you're down or not, make it sell the call, much like an umpire. And that on that group, on that angle, it didn't look like he got in.
He'll be checked out. They'll review that.
Every scoring play subject to review.
And I think it was a smart move by Griffin to get up and run to the back of the end zone as though he, because that way they can't go back and look where you actually ended up after the play. It's a good idea. If you're not quite confident of it, make sure it looks good at the end.
Back to Cleveland in a moment. Gene Steratore set to make his announcement on the decision of this touchdown.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So it wasn't confirmed, but there wasn't enough to overturn it, which is why it stands.
You'll see here as he kind of punches in and the momentum goes, and right there it looks like he's over because he falls back just short there. But I think it was a good touchdown, although not the same way. There's nothing definitive.
Here's Cody Parkey for the extra point. It's good, and with 8:11 to go in the 3rd quarter, the Browns cut the deficit down to 13. They trail 20-7. Week 14 continues later today on Fox, and then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. We spent Friday at the Browns facility, and all of us agreed, it got a great vibe coming from the team, from the building. I think Joe Hayden said it best. He said that the building would have caved in by now if it wasn't for Hugh Jackson. There's a few times in the past in these Browns locker rooms where guys have gone their own way at the end of the year. That's not the case this year under Hugh, and Hayden continued to say that he's got the veterans in his corner. Guys like myself, Joe Hayden speaking, Joe Thomas, they all believe in Hugh, and that way the younger guys have bought in following the role and the leadership of some of the veterans, and it's made a big difference. This team is not going to quit down the stretch.
Well, being young has its pluses and minuses. On the plus side, even when you're having a rough season, the young guys are really excited about still being there and playing. They're still enjoying it. On the other side, 0-12, one of the reasons is because you're so young and those guys make some mistakes during the season that put you in tough spots.
Erickson from 3 yards deep of his own end zone. And not a good decision as he takes a big hit at the 20-yard line from Tracy Howard. Back to New York, an NFL Today update with JB and Coach Cowher.
Classic Frank Gore.
Yeah, watch Frank Gore take the screen pass from Andrew Luck. He's going to take this 18 yards, great run, and the Indianapolis Colts cut the lead 16-10.
Hard running for sure. Andrew, Steve, and Steve.
Big game in the AFC South. Tennessee also leading Denver right now. A 3-way tie atop the division in the AFC South. Our crew will be in Houston next week for the Texans and Jaguars. As first down, Jeremy Hill picks up a couple of yards on the play. Inside 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
Now you come into a real test for the Bengals. You got to keep your foot on the gas on the road in a game against this team that's winless, and keep playing football and not just wait for this game to get over thinking it already is.
That's what Marvin Lewis is thinking right now, guaranteed. We got to answer the bell and get control of this game again.
Jeremy Hill to the left side, and he's tripped up from behind. Does get across the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and short for the Bengals.
But Andrew, on that topic you brought up about the Browns, I mean, we've all been around long enough. You can sense whether players are trying to get you to believe it or whether they actually believe it. And every player we talked to, and the vibe with all the personnel around the office was very, very positive, very upbeat. And yeah, that's got to be credited to Hugh Jackson for sure.
3rd down and 1. Bengals 6 for 10 on 3rd downs today. Dalton completes it to Boyd, who's taken down by Jamar Taylor, but not before Tyler Boyd picks up a 1st down and ties his season high with his 6th catch of the day.
I don't know if he had clean possession of that ball before. Maybe we get a replay of it. I will see that whether he caught that ball cleanly, because if he didn't, it could be reviewed as to when he had possession and when the ball.
Right, Rennie was across the line. He might not have gotten possession until he's back across the 1st down line. I think it's a good catch.
Yeah, I think it was.
1st and 10 from the 31. Play action. Dalton on the move. Nobody home. Will keep it himself. And Andy Dalton up to the 38-yard line. Joe Hayden on the tackle, and the Browns said one of the keys today was keeping Dalton in the pocket. They've done a pretty good job so far, but he was able to break free here.
Well, this is a design bootleg, and he comes out with an offensive lineman in front of him, and then 3 deep, 1 shallow, 1 intermediate, 1 deep route. Not all of them were covered up very well in the secondary, and it ends up Dalton taking a nice shot at the end of this, even after an 8-yard gain.
Hill, good enough for a Bengals 1st down, as Cincinnati moving the chains and eating up some clock here in the 3rd quarter. Jamie Collins on the tackle.
And this is where a good football team, well, like the Bengals thought they were going to be in the beginning of this season. They ended up with only 4 wins, but this is a team that run the football, pass it when you have to. When you need to run it, when the other team knows you're going to run it, you can still run it, and that's a sign of a really good football team.
They've rushed for 147 yards today. They only average 106 per game. Keeping it on the ground with Hill, and Danny Shelton clips him from behind, but again, positive yards, 5 more for Jeremy Hill.
Well, this is exactly what Marvin Lewis, if you ask him and Ken Zampese, the offensive coordinator, would expect or desire. Come out, try and reestablish control of this football game. That's what the good teams do, and they do it by running and being more physical. And this is a Cleveland Browns defense that has been run on, especially by the Cincinnati Bengals.
6 plays on this drive, 5 on the ground. They keep it on the ground with Erickson. Big block from Tyler Eifert. A flag comes in. Wow, Tyler Eifert sending Corey Lemonnier to the ground.
Well, Lemonnier got up and they had words, but Eifert, it was a clean hit, although it may get a penalty because Eifert went towards his old goal line. It's a peel back block.
I think it was head-to-head, too. He came through I think it was helmet to helmet.
Lemonnier did the right. He got up and said, hey, nice hit. He didn't like it, but he had to acknowledge it was clean.
I think Tyler Eifert might be hearing from the league on this one.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, helmet contact with defensive player number 85. 15-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
Yeah, and he was just too high. I mean, that's, you said it, Steve Berline. You'll watch, he's going to peel back right here, and he's going to, right there, got him.
Yeah, front of his helmet right through the chin.
Well, as a guy who spent his life under 5'10", I don't know how you get low if you're 6'5", like Eifert is. I mean, how?
Well, you know, in those situations, you're allowed to block him, but you just can't. You just got to almost get in his way. You can't take that crackback shot on a defensive player.
2nd and 20. Dalton sets up the screen to Hill. Makes a nice catch, and Hill is tackled by Jamie Collins. Said that a lot today. Jamie Collins, since coming over from the Patriots, he has at least 8 tackles in every game with the Browns, including 10 today.
Yeah, that was a pretty good play on 2nd down for the Bengals. Trying to get half of that 2nd and 20 back. They didn't quite get it, and it still leaves them with a 3rd and 14, but at least they got positive yards. But this is a 3rd down. If they convert this, that's huge.
Good protection. Dalton to Burkhead, too high, incomplete. And the Browns defense does its job. They're going to get the ball back here late in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, this was well played by the Cleveland Browns, and Andy Dalton doing the right thing, trying to take the check down, play the field position game, try and pin Cleveland back in their own end zone again, but could not make the connection. Now Joe Hayden will have a chance to maybe set up a return.
2 possessions this half for the Bengals, 2 punts. Huber, Hayden with a fair catch at his own 19-yard line. 3:20 to go, 3rd quarter. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Coming into the day, the Browns had scored a total of 16 points in the 3rd quarter all season long. They have 7 in the 3rd quarter today, looking for more as they get the ball back at their own 19-yard line. Griffin on 1st down. Throws it out in Barnage's direction, incomplete. RG3 is 6 for 18 throwing today, and as you look at the last 7 possessions for the Browns, nothing doing in the first half, but they did go 10 plays and 80 yards the last time they had the football.
Yeah, that's a pretty good drive at the bottom, and you always look at what they did lately. We'll see if they can build on that here.
Accuracy has been an issue, though, for Robert Griffin. He's had chances to make some easy throws that he's just not delivered a catchable ball.
Griffin keeps it himself and has some daylight until Adam Jones comes up and puts that daylight to rest, but looked like RG3 had a little more room when that play broke.
Well, this is the 3rd time they've run the read option with Robert Griffin, and we talked specifically about this to the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. They did not expect to see Robert Griffin running the read option today because they thought Hugh Jackson would be concerned about the hits being taken by Robert Griffin. But Hugh Jackson coming out and saying, you know, we got to find a way to make a play. Let's see if our dynamic quarterback can make a few plays for us.
3rd down and 3. Pryor and Jones at the bottom of your screen. Griffin has to get rid of it. Caught by Duke Johnson. Nice cutback on Dansby. Duke Johnson, room to run. Close to midfield. A gain of 23 for Duke Johnson. George Iloka finally brings him down.
That's a really nice job by Robert Griffin to get rid of this ball. Had pressure coming right up the middle in his face, ended up on his back, but knew where Duke Johnson was, one of the top receiving running backs in the NFL, and he knows what to do with the football afterwards. That was Burfict coming right up the gut. Believe me, that's not something quarterback likes to see, coming right in your face. Good job getting rid of that football.
Move the ball up to the 46-yard line. Back to the ground with Crowell up the middle into Cincinnati territory. And some momentum building here for Cleveland in the 3rd quarter.
Well, that's one of the things that RG3, and we spoke about it in the first half, RG3 and Hugh Jackson both said this is going to be a much better tempoed offense with RG3 in. And you see it as they start getting one good play, then another, then another. They stack on top of each other very quickly, and then all of a sudden your offense looks very different just because you can go at a faster pace.
2nd and 1. Griffin looking for Pryor, and it's incomplete. Matched up with Kirkpatrick that time. Terrell Pryor still without a catch today.
And it continues to be an issue. I mean, that's an inaccurate throw. It's too high and outside. Watch. And it has to be a little high because that's kind of where you want it on this back shoulder. But this ball just sails, and it could be, you know, the wind that we spoke about. It is whipping around down on the field, take my word for it. But the conditions have actually improved throughout this game. They haven't deteriorated as we thought they were going to when the game kicked off.
And we're in 4-down territory here for sure for Cleveland. If they don't get this, they will go for it.
3rd and 1. Crowell has the 1st down and more. Crowell at the 30. Crowell inside the 20. Dre Kirkpatrick brings him down. A gain of 30 for Isaiah Crowell.
Well, you talk about the rhythm of an offense, Steve. And the first half, we talked about the field position. It is so hard to call plays and get in rhythm when you're backed up in your own end zone. Right now, Hugh Jackson and his staff have done a great job of identifying where they think some opportunities are against this Bengals defense, and they're cashing in right now.
Crowell over 100 yards rushing for the 4th time in his career. 1st and 10 from just inside the 15-yard line. 30 seconds remain, 3rd quarter. Griffin to Pryor, and there's his first catch, shoved out by Kirkpatrick. Going back to Crowell for a moment, it's his 3rd 100-yard rushing game this season, the first Brown to do that since Trent Richardson 4 years ago.
And I like, too, I mean, all of a sudden, you've got this, this ball just outside the 10-yard line of Cincinnati, and now they're going to wait for the 4th quarter. But up until that moment, man, they were in the huddle after every good play, ready to go again and stack every good play on top of it. And that's been the difference.
That's the end of the 3rd with Cincinnati leading 20-7. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Marvin Lewis and Hugh Jackson, two very close friends. Jackson spent 7 years as an assistant under Lewis in Cincinnati. They talk every week, except this week. They don't talk when they play each other, and they are in a close game now here at the start of the 4th quarter as Cleveland is driving down by 13.
Now this is pivotal. A touchdown makes it a 1-score game. Field goal still is a 2-score.
Crowell, nowhere to go. And now it's 3rd down for the Browns.
Yeah, that looked like that play was going to be a little bit more productive. Crowell just couldn't put his foot in the ground and get up inside the block. Austin Pastor was laid out, and he couldn't get around him to make that cut, and it turned into what turned out to be a 1-yard loss. And that play had a chance. That's too bad.
3rd down and 8. Cleveland needs to get to the 4-yard line to pick up a 1st down. Griffin incomplete, looking for Seth DeVal.
Yeah, that's the ongoing theme right there.
And out comes the field goal unit for the Browns.
That play had a chance, and that ball just sailed out of bounds. You see there, he's open.
We've talked about it.
You can't put the ball on him.
Yeah, we've talked about it all day. The accuracy, and you can blame it on rust. And I think you got to put some of it on that for sure. No doubt. Not saying that he should come out and hit every one of those passes, but he's had some chances to make throws that he should be able to make. And he's consistently been high or inaccurate with the ball most of this game.
8 for 22 is Griffin, as Parkey's 30-yard field goal attempt is good. And with 14-14 to go, it's a 10-point game in Cleveland. Tonight, a news-making interview with the Prime Minister of Israel, plus how effective can TV commercials be? See the one that helped end the war. 60 Minutes tonight only, CBS. Browns have scored 10 straight points and now trail by 10 early in the 4th quarter with Cody Parkey set to kick it away for Cleveland.
But Hugh Jackson knows that he missed a golden opportunity right there. You got to come out of that situation with a touchdown and make it a 1-score game. That's all Marvin Lewis on the other side for Cincinnati was hoping for. Keep this a 2-score game.
Erickson from his own 2. Erickson is taken down short of the 20 by Schobert. Marcus Burley also in on the tackle, so the Cincinnati offense goes back to work. Andy Dalton 16 of 23 for 136 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Both touchdowns to Tyler Eifert. Eifert now with a touchdown in 3 straight games.
Billy.
Jeremy Hill is taken down by Collins, but not before Hill gets to the 25-yard line. A gain of 7 on 1st down.
Yeah, we see it. That's the modus operandi of the Bengals here in the second half. They're going to grind it out on 1st and 2nd down and then just try and pick up the 3rd down from whatever yardage they have left. Keep doing that, and it leaves the Browns open to a play-action pass perhaps on 1st or 2nd, but for right now, if you're snapping off 7 yards in the run game, don't look for the Bengals to do anything else.
Yeah, if I'm Ken Zampese and Marvin Lewis for the Bengals, they're really running the ball efficiently. When they go right at this Browns defense, I don't know why you get away from it.
They throw it here, and wide open is Hill. Jeremy Hill down the sideline for a big pickup. Give him 18 yards and another Cincinnati first down.
That might be a reason to get away from it.
That was a complete bust. It was just a swing pattern. Andy Dalton could tell just by the way that the Browns defense stayed compact, did not get any width off the snap, that nobody was outside wide to make the play on Jeremy Hill.
Yeah, he saw Hill break. He knew Hill was breaking out. Nobody went with him.
109 yards from scrimmage today for Jeremy Hill, the third-year man out of LSU. Hill is able to string this out to midfield. Ball came out late, and they're saying he was down.
The runner is down by contact. Second down, Cincinnati.
Hill had a fumbling problem early in his career. 8 fumbles his first 2 seasons in the league, but no fumbles this year. And he was clearly down.
And once again, 1st and 10, they get a 7-yard run from Jeremy Hill between the tackles, brings up a 2nd and 3.
Yeah, just going straight at him again.
Straight at him.
Under center, straight at him on first down.
Burkhead to the Cleveland 45-yard line. When these teams met back in week 7, Cincinnati rushed for 271 against the Browns defense, 7th most yards in franchise history for the Bengals, and today they've got 171 on the ground.
Billy.
Burkhead has matched his career high with 38 yards rushing. He set it last week in the win over the Eagles. Burkhead now with a new career high as he takes it to the 40-yard line, and Cincinnati continues to chew up some clock on this drive.
Yeah, now that they've crossed the 50, I think now they can kind of start to stand up and look around and say, okay, now can we hit them with a big one on a 2nd and 5 play? Maybe they do try a play action pass, get out ahead of them, snap off a 15 or 20-yard pass play instead of a 5-yard pass play, and really try and put this Browns defense away.
Dalton, good protection, connects with Brandon LaFell, who's got a Cincinnati first down to the 29-yard line, a gain of 11 for number 11.
A great job by Andy Dalton identifying the man coverage across the board. Good time for the play call, too, from Ken Zampese. You get LaFell coming across the middle against man-to-man coverage with a step on him. It's a nice pickup. It's a nice play because Dalton drops back looking to his right, and then as the play and he sees the coverage, he knows that his receiver is coming into his vision. He picks up LaFell coming across. He doesn't have to turn his head at all. LaFell runs across. The coverage is just right, so instead of throwing it to his first option, he knows his third option is coming into the vacant area. An easy read, great play call and design.
1 on the play clock, and Marvin Lewis from the sideline was able to call timeout before the play clock expired. Cincinnati came into the day still mathematically alive in the AFC North. They basically need to win out, and as Marvin Lewis said, hope that Baltimore and Pittsburgh fall on their faces. And right now, Pittsburgh with a 21-7 lead on Buffalo. The Ravens play in New England tomorrow night, but Cincinnati holding up its end of the bargain so far. 20-10 lead here in Cleveland as Jeremy Hill gets the call on first down and picks up a yard.
Andrew, you pointed out earlier the lack of pass rush that this Cleveland Browns defense has. And that translates in a lot of different ways, but the Browns right here need a turnover. And in turnovers, they only have 11 turnovers on the season. They've got to find a way to come with the football, but if you can't generate pressure on the quarterback, you're not going to have a whole lot of turnovers.
Browns defense with just 2 interceptions in their last 6 games. 2nd and 9 with the play clock at 4. Low snap, Dalton fields it. Now chased out, rolling right. Dalton's going to turn it upfield himself. Dalton to the 20, and a late flag comes in from the secondary. With that spot, he's very close to a first down.
Yeah, this is going to be holding on Brandon LaFell. Wasn't all bad because LaFell doesn't want to let Joe Hayden go and give him a free shot on his quarterback. So we kind of held on a little extra long, and
Yeah, but your quarterback will get down a little bit. It's a second down play. You don't want to get a penalty and move it back 10 yards.
Holding. Offense number 11. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay. Second down.
You'll see as this play comes apart, this is LaFell. As he turns around, Dalton's running towards him. He just reaches around, grabs him, pulls him, and that's an easy call. Although it was late, you can see Joe Hayes like, what the? Hey!
Yeah, that wasn't even an attempt to hide.
That was a little bit like the Baltimore Ravens and the safety they took a couple of weeks ago when 9 guys tackled offensively.
So the penalty makes it second down and 10. Dalton to LaFell. And LaFell is cut from behind by Carl Nassib. But LaFell is able to get to the 20 and pick up 9 on the play.
That makes up for a little hole. Gives you a chance to get another target and
maybe that's
a few more yards.
The thought process
was all part of his ultimate plan, right?
Yeah.
I'll hold so we get backed up and they got to throw me the ball.
And no huddle for the Bengals on 3rd and 1 with Hill as the running back. Play action. Dalton in trouble. Dalton just throws it away. Good pressure coming from Emmanuel Ogbah on Dalton, and now Marvin Lewis. Interesting decision. 4th and 1, he's got to send out, well, he doesn't have to, but he chooses to send out his struggling kicker, Mike Nugent.
Yeah, Jeremy Hill cut Ogbah. Ogbah just stepped right over him. Dalton thought he was going to have a minute with Ogbah on the ground, and Jeremy Hill couldn't get him there. And now he leaves it up to Mike Nugent. On this direction in pregame, Nugent almost had to put it outside the right upright in order to curve it in with the wind, but the wind is not as strong as it was.
He missed an extra point and a field goal today. This from 39 yards. And before the kick, a whistle and a false start against the Bengals.
That moves it back 5.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
Now at this point, the 5 yards is a little bit of an afterthought. I mean, it's still going to be 44-yarder, but by the same token, he just had a nice run through and got a chance to kick it. And for a pro kicker, that should really help Nugent hit this second shot.
I guarantee he'd rather have that first one count.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to have to kick that.
Listen, I watched him during the pregame. There's nothing wrong with his operation, his kick. But I'm telling you what, between his ears, he's a mess.
I'll do it again, this time from 44 yards. And Nugent is good. With 8:38 to go, Nugent extends the Cincinnati lead to 13. Back in Cleveland, where Mike Nugent just tacked on 3 points for Cincinnati. They lead it by 13 with 8:38 to go, trying to send the Browns to their 13th loss of the season and their 16th consecutive loss. It's been 364 days since the Browns last won a football game. Johnny Manziel was the quarterback in that game. Ricardo Lewis on the return. And Lewis spins his way across the 25. And that's where the Cleveland offense will take over. Next Sunday, the playoff picture starting to take shape in the NFL on CBS is right in the thick of it. First, the Steelers battle the Bengals, and then the Patriots and Broncos go head-to-head. Check your local listings, and it all begins with JB, Tony, Bart, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. So Robert Griffin back to work. He has completed just 8 of his 22 passes for 74 yards.
And there has to be some urgency now out of the Cleveland Browns. You need 2 touchdowns. The clock is now not your friend. 8.5 minutes left.
Screen pass to Crowell. Good block on Burfict. Crowell cannot get away from Carlos Dansby. Coming back to Cleveland after spending 2 years as a member of the Browns. This is nice Cameron Irving on the block of Burfict.
Nice drive starting play. Gives the quarterback Griffin a chance to just get a good completion. Gives a chance to maybe a broken play. Great block on the outside there
by Irving.
As he comes out, and then Dansby has to clean up on the tackle after a 6-yard gain.
On second down, it's Duke Johnson. Johnson gets away. Duke Johnson into Cincinnati territory. A gain of 22 for Duke Johnson.
I like this kid. You know, I don't know if I can still call him a kid. You know, now been in the league. This is his 3rd year. I guess we can still call him a kid. But very talented player. Burfict is hurt on the play, bumped up a little bit. But what a nice move in the backfield by Duke Johnson. See Burfict right there hobbling off.
On 1st and 10. Griffin out of the pocket again, chased and throws it away. It was Carlos Dunlap closing quickly on Griffin. We met with Dunlap last night, and he said, I want to see just how healthy Robert Griffin III actually is. And that time he was able to force Griffin to throw it away.
Yeah, you think you're going to come back and ease into your game and blow the rust off your joints and stuff and have a few easy completions. Well, the Bengals would like nothing better than to use you as a tent stake. You know, they want to find out if you can stand up to the rigors of the NFL. They could care less how your season's going. They're trying to save their own.
Burfict is on the field for the Bengals defense on 2nd and 10. Griffin is sacked. Geno Atkins coming right up the middle to bring down RG3. 5.5 sacks on the season for Atkins, a loss of 8.
Well, Atkins just kind of bull rushing right there, pushing Drango right back into Robert Griffin's lap, and then, well, it shows why he's one of the most highly regarded interior defensive linemen in the league. He knows how to finish.
Steve Berline, you made the point at the start of this drive, there needs to be a sense of urgency for the Browns. They're taking their time coming to the line. And now 3rd down and 18 as we have just 6:20 to go.
You got to get at least half of it back right here. You don't want to take a shot for all of it unless it's there.
Good protection this time. Good coverage downfield. And Griffin in trouble. Able to escape, but not the 3rd time. Atkins again. Back-to-back sacks for Geno Atkins. Now it's 4th and 3 miles for the Browns.
I fault Robert Griffin on this one. You got to take a shot here in this situation. Down 13 points.
You got to find a way to get rid of the football down there. And I get it.
And I respect the effort and trying to extend the play and everything, but you're not going to run away from 3 or 4 defensive linemen at that point.
Well, there's a difference between making a play and trying to create a play. Making a play is one that's there, you take advantage of it. Creating a play is a whole nother story. Sometimes you can do it, but that's a 1 in a million.
4th down and 29. Colquitt punting to Erickson, who calls for a fair catch at his own 25-yard line with 5:21 to go. Bengals trying to put this one away in Cleveland. Rough stretch continues for the Browns, and by stretch I mean a year. That was the last time they won a game. 15 straight losses on their way to number 16. They've only had a 4th quarter lead once. That was back in week 4 against Washington. 7 different players have attempted a pass, and their run game, after starting the season off well, has completely fallen apart. The last 8 games they trail by 13 with 5:21 to go in the 4th quarter. Jeremy Hill on 1st down gets a couple of yards. Wednesday on Survivor, it's the final battle in the culture war clash. 3 millennials against 3 Gen Xers. Which generation will deliver the sole survivor? Don't miss the season finale, followed by the live reunion show Wednesday at 8/7 Central, only CBS. That guy's clock actually had the right time of day.
Did it?
I think it did. It's impressive. 2nd down and 8. It's Hill again. And he gets to the 30. It'll be 3rd down for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and this is the point. This is where you're just about, yeah, there you go. I think that is about the right time of day here. But time is running out. And the Bengals are right now in their 4-minute offense. They're trying to stay in bounds, keep the clock running, use every bit of the play clock. 20 seconds as they break the huddle. We'll see if Andy Dalton lets it get down inside 5 seconds before he snaps this football.
He does not. Pitches it to Burkhead. Burkhead is tackled right at the chains. That was a good spot. We'll see if it was enough for a first. Tremont Williams on the tackle.
I think they're going to give him the first down. He's past the line. Cleveland took a timeout.
Yeah, I would imagine if the spot gives him the first down, if I'm Hugh Jackson, I might want to check and see what that spot looked like. Those knees for Burkhead.
This is a 30-second timeout.
This is a big spot.
Please
No
reset the
question.
game clock for 3 minutes, 57 seconds. 3:57 on the game clock, please.
Take another look.
Thank you.
Well, the 35 is the line.
Yeah, I think he's short of the line. It was a generous spot. And they have given Cincinnati a first down. And for Hugh Jackson, you could challenge the spot.
Yes. I like the call, too, though, by Ken Zampese, the little shovel pass. Nice, safe call. Get the completion because you don't want the incomplete pass to stop the clock. You want to make Cleveland burn their last time out. Hugh Jackson decided not to challenge that spot.
So first down and 10, and Cleveland with just one timeout remaining as Jeremy Hill bulldozes his way to the 39-yard line. And now Hugh Jackson does not call timeout, so the clock will tick down close to 3 minutes.
Yeah, at this point, you got to you try and get out ahead of it. When he's going to use that final timeout, what he's waiting on. He's probably going to get it, see if he can get a stop here on this set of downs, and then he'll have the 2-minute and a timeout. But like we've stated, the scoreboard's obvious. He's got to get the ball back twice.
We're good.
23rd carry today for Jeremy Hill. That ties a season high, and he picks up another first down for the Bengals. Jamie Collins on the stop, but just one timeout left for the Browns, along with the 2-minute warning, and Cleveland can take up, or Cincinnati rather, can take up most of the rest of the clock. Coming up, Subway postgame show. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower, all the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. 2 weeks ago against the Giants, Hugh Jackson got emotional in the postgame press conference, said this is the hardest thing he's ever gone through in football. There's a lot of people throughout the week that said this was the best chance for the Browns to finally get their first win of the season. Cincinnati has taken care of business here today. Smart move there by Hill to go down inbounds, and the clock continues to tick. Now Jackson will use his final timeout with 2:22 to go. 23-10 in favor of the Bengals. Back in Cleveland, 2:22 to go. Bengals trying to improve to 5-7-1 while Hugh Jackson is staring at his 13th consecutive loss in his first year as head coach of the Browns. Andy Dalton fans seeing Dalton throw 2 touchdowns today, both to Tyler Eifert. And it's second down and 5 following a final timeout by Cleveland. It's Burkhead. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning. But before we get there, teams to start 0-13, which the Browns are on the verge of doing. And you can see 2 teams went winless. The Bucs in '76 when it was a 14-game schedule. And the Lions in 2008, the only team to go 0-16. 2-minute warning in Cleveland. Browns down by 13. Coming up, Subway postgame show. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, Coach Cower. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights from around the league. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. 2 minutes to go. Cleveland is out of timeouts, and they trail 23-10 on third down and 1. Jeremy Hill, and he's tackled right at the chains. Well, the Browns about to go to 0-13, trying to avoid being just the second team to ever go 0-16. The Lions in '08 went 0-16. Here's what's left for Cleveland. At Buffalo next week. Bills trailing to the Steelers right now in the fourth quarter. San Diego at home on Christmas Eve, and then they finish the season at Pittsburgh on New Year's Day.
Well, those next two games, at Buffalo is going to be tough. It's always tough to go to Buffalo, but that's a team that's real, and they're going to be 6-7. A lot of talk about Rex Ryan, whether he'll be back next year. Could be an opportunity, but that home game against San Diego on Christmas Eve, that's going to be their best chance, I think. And San Diego, not a whole lot to play for at that point. A West Coast throwing team coming in these elements, that would be a game that you would think they would have a chance in as well.
Administrative delay of game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
So the Bengals will try and punt the Browns down inside, deep into their own territory. 114, two possessions needed. I mean, I think it's a smart move. You think that, yeah, you'd have confidence in getting that 4th and short, but they tried it on 3rd and 1. Don't do it. Punt them deep and see if they can go the length of the field twice to beat you.
There's a flag down. That punt is dropped by Joe Hayden, but he picks it up. Let's see what the flag is. Back at the line of scrimmage.
It's going to be on the Bengals. I think it was illegal procedure. They started a little quick, and they're going to enforce it at the end.
Illegal formation, kicking team, number 26, was not on the line of scrimmage. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, 4th down.
Yeah, now they're going to make them punt that again, which is probably a pretty good idea.
No doubt.
That's been my experience. When you have to punt it twice, you're gassed. I've seen it happen even earlier this year where a team has to punt it twice in a row and they give up a big return. But still, by the same token, you got to field the punt inside your 5 or 15-yard line in bad conditions.
I get that, but they also lost time off the clock now, which is precious for the Browns.
Yeah, I love that punt. That's a good punt.
Into the end zone for a touchback. Just 57 seconds remain.
Usually you don't like him to punt in. On this case, you can't give up a big return if you punt the darn thing out of the field of play. It's a smart move.
Well, take a look at this. Through 12 games, this year's Browns compared to the 0-16 Lions back in 2008. How about the numbers? Almost identical. A Detroit team used 3 quarterbacks that year. Dan Orlovsky, Dante Culpepper, and John Kitten. The Lions allowed 32 points per game on defense in 2008. This year, the Browns have allowed 29 points per game. As we mentioned before, this Cleveland team is not going to quit down the stretch. Trying to find a way to give Hugh Jackson his first win as a Brown, as Griffin completes it to Barnage. And Cleveland cannot stop the clock with 45 seconds remaining.
You just got to continue to compete if you're Cleveland. Go until the last play.
Hurry!
Griffin off the hands of Duke Johnson and incomplete. Steve Berline, what's your evaluation of RG3 today?
Well, I hope he plays better next week. That's about the only thing you can say. He got another game under his belt. I think probably unfair to expect great things against a pretty talented Cincinnati Bengals defense in these conditions. I think getting one game under his belt, he's going to have 3 more weeks to lay his claim to this opportunity, and he's going to have to do a heck of a lot better than he did today.
10 of 26 for just 86 yards passing and an interception today for Robert Griffin. On 3rd and 3, completes it to Corey Coleman, who's got a first down.
Got to get out of bounds.
Should have gone out of bounds, and now he does. With 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, you talk about RG3 in the game that he has had. I think one of the things that, and we've seen a lot of bad quarterbacking in the league off and on through the years. The one thing I like about RG3 is that you can say what you want about his accuracy, and he has struggled with that a little bit today, but I'll tell you this. He's finding the open guy. He sees him. He's reading the defenses. He's throwing the football to the right guy. A lot of quarterbacks struggle with even that. And I think if you can work on it, perhaps the rust, whatever you want to call it, I've seen him throw the football much more accurately than he did today in these conditions. So there is some things on the horizon that give you reason to think
RG3 is going to play much better.
DeVal makes the catch. They threw it to the middle of the field. Cleveland cannot stop the clock. And if they don't hurry up, that's going to be the last play of the game. And that's it. Cincinnati defeats Cleveland for the 5th straight time, which ties their longest win streak in the Battle of Ohio. The Bengals go to 5-7-1, still holding on to a glimmer of hope that they could find a way to make the playoffs, while the Browns fall to 0-13. For Steve Tasker and Steve Berline, I'm Andrew Catalan saying so long from Cleveland. Now it's time for the Subway postgame show.